Immediately after watching the first James Bond film, Dr. No, in 1962, budding Swedish actress Britt Ekland knew she wanted to someday share the screen with the debonair secret agent man. Ekland would go on to become famous for marrying Peter Sellers and headlining in a string of hit films like The Wicker Man and Get Carter. 12 years after watching the first 007, Ekland's dream came true when she played Mary Goodnight opposite Roger Moore in The Man with the Golden Gun. The role transformed her into one of the era's most prominent sex symbols, and for a while her various relationships, affairs, and personal dramas littered the gossip rags. It's kind of peculiar that someone who was once one of the most photographed people in the world would eventually fall into relative obscurity. But according to Britt, her career came crashing down after making a decision she now wholeheartedly regrets. Keep watching to find out what that bad choice was. She got her start in chewing gum ads. Born in Stockholm, Sweden in 1942, Ekland's career began as a teen, appearing in advertisements for chewing gum while doing the occasional modeling job. Before landing her first gigs in front of a camera, Ekland had struggled with self-image issues. As a child, she was overweight, and she was convinced she was ugly. To make up for the fact that she wasn't as attractive as some of her peers, Ekland tried to be funny. It was by doing this that she learned she had a knack for acting. She eventually dropped out of school to travel with a theater company. She was discovered by a scout in Italy while enjoying an espresso at a coffee shop. She was then sent off to London to audition for films. The tabloids loved her. For a while, Ekland's fame as an actress was closely rivaled by all the drama, rumors, and strife that surrounded her romantic relationships. But it was also through one of these relationships that Britt found success. In January of 1964, actor Peter Sellers saw a photograph of Ekland in a local newspaper and immediately sent his valet to her room. Britt only knew Sellers' name from tabloid magazines, but decided to meet him anyway. On their first date, Sellers suggested they go to the movies to see The Pink Panther, in which he played the lead Inspector Clouseau. Ekland married Sellers just 10 days after meeting him. In fact, 2 days after they met, Sellers gifted Britt a dachshund puppy named Pepper. Ekland had just arrived in London to be 20th Century Fox's next big star. She was 21 at the time and living at the Dorchester Hotel, so the puppy was a pretty ridiculous gift, as was his previous one, every bouquet in the hotel's flower shop. Sellers' marriage proposal was apparently every bit as brazen. Several days after they'd started seeing each other, Sellers reportedly called Ekland up and told her he had already told the press they were getting married. Not giving her much choice, he then cheekily asked her if that sounded okay. To this day, Ekland still doesn't remember how she responded, but apparently it was along the lines of yes. Their marriage turned her into an internationally famous star practically overnight. Since things happened so quickly, sadly, little Pepper was lost in the commotion. For years, Ekland wondered what happened to the poor dog. Years later, in 2020, when she was 77, Britt received a letter from a woman saying she had taken in Pepper and he'd lived a happy, long life with her. Ekland's father was thrilled when she married Sellers despite their 17-year age gap. It wouldn't have mattered if he had disapproved, however, as she was madly in love. While things started off passionately and Ekland became the stepmother of Sellers' 2 children, the couple had a pretty rocky romance. Before we tell you more about that, be sure to give this video a like and subscribe to Facts First if you haven't already. It all came crashing down. Just days after their wedding, Sellers flew to LA to appear in a movie and sent her a letter where he expressed his worries that she might leave him or be unfaithful. More worrisome was how he stated he wanted to have, quote, violent sex with her. Although Ekland admits she's never been good at spotting red flags, Sellers' obsessiveness was clearly alarming. She later described him as controlling and possessive. After receiving that letter, Sellers requested Ekland fly to LA and join him for Easter. Bailing on her commitment to film Guns at Batasi, Britt gave in to Sellers' demands and hopped aboard the first flight out west. Days after arriving in LA, Sellers had his first of several heart attacks and wound up on life support. But he pulled through, and their daughter Victoria was born not long after, in 1965. Ekland was then fired by Fox for breach of contract. It was around this time she began to see Sellers' dark side. After recovering from his heart attacks, he became very moody and demanding. If she did anything he didn't like, he'd threaten her with divorce or fly off the handle in a jealous rage. At one point, he even lied to Hugh Hefner, claiming he had nude photos of his wife and he was willing to sell them if the price was right. After years of fighting, name-calling, and feeling like she was constantly walking on eggshells, Ekland decided enough was enough and divorced Sellers in December of 1968. Her next relationships weren't much better. After divorcing Peter, Ekland struck up a relationship with record producer Lou Adler. That union resulted in Ekland giving birth to her second child, Nikolai Adler, born in 1973. After things soured with Lou, Ekland hooked up with singer Rod Stewart after she was introduced to him by Joan Collins in 1975. They lived together for 2 years, but reportedly Rod required her to pay rent. After splitting, Britt sued him for palimony. In 1984, Ekland got married to drummer Slim Jim Phantom of the Stray Cats. Jim was 19 years her junior, but they had a pretty solid connection. In 1988, they had a son named Thomas Jefferson. 4 years later, they split up. These days, Ekland has given up on trying to find true love and is proud to say she's happily single. In 2020, she told The Guardian she's been practicing what she calls self-partnership. Her post-Bond acting career was all over the place. Even though her status as the first Bond girl made her world famous, it didn't exactly set her up for life. After The Man with the Golden Gun, Ekland continued appearing in films throughout the 70s and 80s, and a few were pretty decent roles, but many were in low-budget horror and thriller titles. Perhaps the best example was her appearance alongside former Grease star Eddie Deezen in the direct-to-video comedy Beverly Hills Vamp. For a while, she had better luck on TV, making guest appearances in a number of popular 80s and early 90s series like Battlestar Galactica, Fantasy Island, The Love Boat, and Absolutely Fabulous. She deeply regrets having plastic surgery. In an interview with Platinum magazine in 2021, Ekland admitted that she, quote, ruined her face by having plastic surgery in the 90s. In what she describes as the biggest mistake of her life, the then 78-year-old detailed how, when she was in her 50s, she underwent a lip-plumping procedure in Paris. Instead of the moderate treatment she was expecting, the doctor injected multiple areas around the rim of her lips with a relatively new dental material called Articol, a bovine collagen that was briefly popular as a filler in the 90s. Nowadays, the material is rarely, if ever, used and is considered risky. Its effects are permanent, which is why most doctors refuse to work with it. For years, Ekland underwent painful corticosteroid injections to melt the Articol. She later went to another surgeon to have it removed entirely. Looking back on the incident, Britt feels like she ruined her face and her entire acting career. She knows that nips and tucks won't help her score any more roles. She's now found peace with the aging process and is no longer interested in going under the knife. Now it's time to hear from you. What part of the story was most surprising to hear about? Let us know in the comments section below. And before you go, make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to Factsverse if you haven't already. Click the bell icon to stay updated on all our latest content.